Hello, and live from Grandma Paz's kitchen.
Just keep switching the location up.
This is Level Up Live. Listen, we've had Mafi's backyard, and now we're in Grandma Paz's kitchen.
And what is she baking?
Paz, can you tell, what is Grandma cooking?
Heck if I know.
It's your grandma. It's your grandma. You gotta tell us.
I don't know. I don't think I have a grandma that's alive.
That's really concerning. Whose kitchen are we in?
I don't know.
Well, it smells good, whatever it is. Anyway, I'm Baguette Baby, one of your charming hosts for today's podcast. I'm gonna slide it over to my right here and have this lovely lady introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Mafi. What's it called? The second segment of this diabolical podcast. Like host, I guess. And below me.
Hi, I'm Paz. I'm like the cat in the back alley. I just get the permission to live here for temporarily until they decide to kick me out. To the last one, that direction. Sorry,
Left.
Yeah.
It's on your left.
Well, look, I'm just making sure I'm not mirrored. We have Vgen. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. Hello, I'm Vgenerator, or Vgen for short. I'm a variety streamer. I'm also part of a video group called Vikiko. Before we decided to make it a more informal group, I was the responsible one for the collabs in the group.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that takes us into today's topic, which is collaborations. We've all seen tips out there on the internet about how collaborations can be an excellent way to expand your network, grow your platform and your community, but it's also a great way to just meet new people, as is evidenced by the fact that there are 4 wonderful people doing a collaboration right now in this call. We're going to talk a little bit about how to identify potential collaborators, how to communicate with them, how to promote your collabs, planning, coordinating, managing them, and just all the other little aspects you might not think about when planning or implementing a collaboration today. And yeah, it is super fitting that Jen, who was managing a bunch of collabs for a VTuber group, would be our special guest for the day. So, to kick us off, I think that one of the most important things that I think anybody who's trying to do a collaboration is ask themselves is, how the heck do I find somebody to collab with? And it can certainly be intimidating. So if we just want to go around and just like talk about like maybe some successful ways you guys have found people to collab with, and just give some ideas. Whoever wants to start can start.
I mean, if nobody wants to start, I'll take the lead. Okay, so I'm gonna assume the silences go for it. So, when I was a wee little baby streamer, my first collab was with the wonderful Murphy. Murphy Plays, for those who don't know. I was so nervous, absolutely nervous, and I don't remember the full extent. I think what happened was I was watching, because I've raided into her a few times, and I used to chat quite frequently in her streams, and I made like an off comment about a game, and then she made a game mention like, yeah, that sounds fun. I was like, well, if you ever want to play, like I wouldn't be opposed. And that kind of snowballed into the very first collab I ever did. And again, I was very nervous. But she was a great host, an amazing host. That's kind of like how I was introduced into, like, if you want to set up a collab, like that's kind of like at least my methodology is like to kind of get to know someone, and then like when you find like a shared interest, then it's like, oh well, I'll pose the question, and then it's gonna be like mostly up to them whether or not like they would want to make something out of that. And then that way they don't feel like it's kind of like out of nowhere, like you're getting blindsided by like some random person like, hey, I want you to collab with me on this game, kind of like it's more casual, really.
This is maybe a little off topic, but have you guys all seen like those like Twitter posts asking
Yes.
for collab partners?
Yes.
What is everybody's thoughts on those? Because I have thoughts.
I've not seen those, but
Oh,
They're-
oh my god.
like,
There's also
Actually,
Discord
yeah.
versions too.
Yeah, there's like whole Discord servers dedicated to
I'll
connecting people for collabs.
do they
I'll-
propose a game at least?
No.
I'll wait till Mafi and Vgen give their thoughts on it before I give mine, because I think mine's gonna probably mimic Baguette's. I feel like maybe.
Jen, do you want to lead?
You can lead.
Okay. So, I think right off the bat, as someone who doesn't even exclusively just collab with streamers, like sometimes I'll just get people from my IRL kind of pool to help me out with streams, whether it's like voicing with like a visual novel or just kind of, having fun with Mario Kart or something. I feel like, posts like that, you don't know who you're being partnered up with. You don't know what their tendencies are, if they say like out-of-pocket stuff, or whether or not you guys are even compatible. Like there's a level of chemistry that you need to prioritize in these collabs, and like obviously it takes a little bit of getting used to the collab in the first place. Like for example, like what Paz said with Murph, it might be a little like intimidating or what's it called? A little nerve-wracking, just because you want to leave like a good impression after that collab. But this doesn't seem like the way to go about it.
Has any of you ever interacted with one of those posts before?
No.
I did.
No. You
I
did? Jeng, you want to talk about it?
Actually, most of the people that I've met was through those kind of posts of I'm searching for people to raid, or I'm searching for moods or friends and stuff. And just, at the beginning, since I was just trying to meet people to just help out a little bit, I just posted a bunch of them, and it was through them that I met KJ, and Barry, and of course Murphy is. I don't know, Murphy didn't do it. I just found it random. But it was through Twitter posts. That I met.
So when you posted those or interacted with those, you didn't immediately just collab with people though, right? Like it was just to get to know new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always took like a few months until I felt comfortable enough to be on the same voice channel as them.
Yeah. So I see, I follow quite a few content creators. My Twitter is pretty much exclusively for content creation. So my algorithm go burr for posts like that because they blow up like crazy, right? I mean, they absolutely get a lot of engagement, depending on who's sending them out and what algorithm waves they ride. I've never interacted with one, but mostly because kind of, I think Mafi, something you were echoing there was, I felt like specifically the ones that were like, I'm just looking for collabs, not someone to play this game or looking to make new friends or find new raid targets, but like specifically a lot of the ones that I see from larger creators looking for collabs. I don't know if they feel very genuine to me.
Yeah,
And it's also like,
I second that. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it kind of, I think in a cynical way, it kind of just feels like, this type of post will blow up. It's kind of follow for follow.
yeah. I also have seen them get to, like 300 plus replies, and I'm like, they're not going to collab with all 300 of those people. They're going to collab with the people that are the same size as them, that have something that they want, it doesn't feel like legit to me. Now, posts from smaller creators could be different, but I am so hesitant when it comes to collabs about the kinds of people that I want to share my stream with. And I'm like, I don't know you just from Twitter. Like, if I'm gonna interact with you, it's gonna be like, we better be besties now. Like, we better like become friends out of this before we do anything. And that's just kind of my take on them. So like, I guess my caution with those for anybody who's looking to set up a collab is buyer beware, right?
Yes.
Like, pay attention to the context of the post that you're interacting with. It can feel really tempting, especially if it's a creator who you enjoy watching, to be like, oh, I enjoy this creator. I'm gonna interact with this post and just hop immediately on this collab. But anyone who's trying to collab with you right away, I would question their intentions.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I myself would recommend. I hate to use the term "do your research" because it makes it feel like people are just a thing you research. But like, take some time and kind of like view over their contents and kind of get an understanding what kind of person they are. And also like pay attention to some context clues. Like if someone's saying like, hey, I'll collab with you, and then you look at like their creator account and like it was created just like three days ago, like that's a major red flag per se. But like not a lot of people out there are like that, but like I guarantee you there's probably one or two out there, and those are the dangerous ones you gotta be careful of, because they're probably out there looking to clip your content to use it in the most negative way, and the best way to do is to infiltrate it and like kind of just like make like slurs and whatever have you. Like, just be careful is the key thing. Like, I think it's fine, but like do your due diligence, because at the end of the day you're responsible for your own channel, and even if that's not you on the other end that's kind of like doing racial slurs or whatever have you, you're still going to be the one impacted. You will still, like, for example, get like a ban, and I hate to say that like Twitch is conscientious enough to know that's not you, but like people have received bans for reasons that wasn't directly themselves. Even the big creators, like we're talking like Asmongold levels, because that has happened to him, not directly like I'm referring to like a collab, but like it happened in a game that he was playing that had multiplayer elements, and like there was nothing he could do about it, but he still received a ban for it. So it's like I was saying, just be careful.
Yeah, I've definitely seen creators, no matter what size, suffer at the hands of third parties on their stream, whether it's a traditional collab or even a community event where, like, what's that one game, Gartic Phone?
Yup.
I've seen that go really, really wrong, really, really fast, because you can get banned for people drawing, genitalia on Gartic Phone.
Yep.
I think another one of that ilk would be Jackbox. I know, like, Bag, like, I remember, like, there was a point where you had to, like, basically lock up shop with all those Jackbox kind of streams in the community where, like, you kind of have to, like, screen them. It's like, you're good.
Yeah, I'll say my collab journey has been a strange one. I've done probably just as many collabs as I've done solo streams in the last year and a half. I love collabs. I love streaming with my friends. I love playing community-oriented games and like getting chat involved in things, especially for larger events like subathons or anniversary or birthday streams that go for a long time. Like, I love having people join me. And absolutely, there are things that I have learned and things that I do differently than I used to. But one thing I am really thankful for is that I have always been very cautious when it comes to Jackbox. Because, people will just join your Jackbox game and put whatever the heck they want on your screen.
Yep.
They absolutely will. But yeah, so Paz, you mentioned your first collab was with Murph.
Yep.
Mavi, who was your first collab with?
Mine was
and what was that?
Mine was with Super Cat Punch. She's more prominent on, I guess, your YouTube feeds and stuff nowadays, but Rin was such a sweetheart, and I feel like funnily enough, if you're out here, like just kind of snooping in on the stuff that I've been up to, including this podcast. I mean, thank you. Like, I think she was like the big kind of pusher into the whole VTubing journey, because I had that collab so early on, but it wasn't a case of, oh, I networked with you just to collaborate. I just really enjoyed your content, and then I guess it's fuzzy because it's been like 3 years or so, but like I probably hopped into VC. I was like looking back at our DMs actually while you guys were talking, and just like I just kind of took the time to get to know them, and I think the conversation of collab just kind of happens. And like you like, I think at some point it's not like relationships where you like each other and then ask each other out kind of thing, but it's like there is a moment where you go, I'm comfortable enough with this person to take this step, right? And that's what we had. And there were a few collabs, and although some of the gameplay was diabolical, we still had a good time.
Yeah. Jen, what about you?
Mine was close to the end of the year, of the first year that I started VTubing. If I'm not mistaken, it was during a subathon. I can't remember if there was something before it. I started with Queen Bree Arthur and Demo.
Good choices.
Yeah. I think we were playing the Backrooms game. And
Backrooms.
and then later that day we'd switch for the forest, where we gather a bunch of people from KJ and KJ's Discord server, and it was just too many people. I was all over the people. I was all over the place.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think my first official collab was actually with you, Mafi, technically.
Pokemon Scarlet.
Because it was pre-debut.
Yeah.
Which that was a fun one, because you and I had been in a call before your stream, just like talking about, I think, getting me set up in VC Face. Like straight up, I think I was having some trouble with certain settings, and you were like, let me help you. And we were in call. And then you were like, hey, I have to go stream, but I'm enjoying just like chatting. So do you just want to like join me on stream?
I love
like,
that transition. Like,
it's good.
It's so, it kind of kills two birds with one stone. I think it let you kind of acclimatize to the people in my community at that time, kind of thing. And it was like a soft landing to you eventually becoming the Baguette we all love.
Yeah, I also enjoyed pranking Murph. That was a great time. We raided Murph after the collab and said, debut raid, and she was like, no way, ain't no way I missed that. But yeah, but the first official one I hosted, I think, was about a month after I started streaming, I want to say. Because it was that big New Year's collab. Paz, were you were there for that?
I'm almost certain I was.
Yeah, you were. Yes, you were, because I had the It's Raining Tacos channel point command
yes, I remember
for
that.
you. I still have that somewhere. Oh my gosh. I loved that collab for a lot of reasons, but gosh, am I so glad that I have taken some of the pressure off of myself. So I think one of the, like, not mistakes, but like one thing that I did that I definitely do differently now, but that I did at the time, was I put so much pressure on myself for that freaking collab to like be so extra. And like, I don't think it was a bad thing necessarily. I think people enjoyed it. But it was like it was just like super extra. Like, I made channel point redeems that played videos for every single person in the collab that their communities could set off if they were in my chat. And like, I mean, I think they were fun. I still like having them. But like, I just had so much that I like prepared for that, and I was like, on a schedule. I had like 6 backup games. I was like testing all the tech like a bajillion times to make sure that nothing would crash. And I don't remember how many people ended up being. It was Mafi, Paz, Murph, Weasels, McNux, Egan. I want to say, oh, Michael was there. I want to say there was like 1 or 2 more people who I'm forgetting though. Cloud. Cloud.
That collab got me a boyfriend.
Honestly, game changing. Well, what's so funny about that is it's actually a great story to talk about too. Because when I was setting it up, I was reaching out to everybody because I had gotten to know quite a few people in the community, and I was reaching people that I knew from when I had started like as a viewer. And asking them to join me. But the one person that I wanted to invite that I wasn't super close with yet was actually Egan. And so I remember I reached out to Mafia and I was like, hey, you know this kid way better than me. Will you just poke him and see if he might be interested in joining? Because I feel like, based on how much of his content that I've watched, that he would vibe really well with the group I'm putting together and would bring good energy for like the Jackbox games and things like that. And I had gotten good impressions, like very like YouTube clean in terms of the content. So I was like, I wasn't really worried about that. I'd done my research, right? I knew what I was asking for, but I just didn't know him well enough to be like, hey, woo, will you join us on this New Year's Eve collab? And so Mafia did it for me.
And then I called it New York City collab. And he was very confused.
Yeah. I think it went really well. I mean, I feel like most things went pretty smooth. We were up super late, but I think it was fun. One thing I wasn't prepared for was that Egan was actually going to be streaming too. I did not know until the moment we were all going live, and I was like, oh, we're doing like a cross, like a double stream collab. Okay, we're rolling with this. And yeah, it is just kind of wild to think like how much everything has changed since then.
Yeah, nowadays you just kind of just ask people spontaneously, like, hey, collab today in like 1 hour?
Yeah, listen, hey, if I know you, I'll do that. Okay, I literally yesterday I was in VC and didn't even have a stream planned, and I was playing Final Fantasy in VC, and I was like, I don't even know what I want to go live with, and Sim was there like, I guess you gotta go live with Final Fantasy. And I was like, yeah, but I don't really like to do Final Fantasy by myself. And he was like, I'll do it with you. And I was like, bet.
It's just the Scarlet and Violet thing again.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, I think that there's, when you're doing collabs, like, there's definitely room to build relationships that are like that, and that's good to have. Mm-hmm. But it's also very good for your content and your networking to have people who are you're a little more formal with too, because it's a skill you don't want to fall out of practice with, right? Like, there will always be other opportunities to collab with people, and just because you're more comfortable with people in your circle doesn't mean that that is going to extend to everyone that you don't know yet. So like, you still have to be mindful of that, even if you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm comfortable with this, like, yeah, let's just collab. Speaking of which, Paz, what are you doing tomorrow at? No, just kidding.
Tomorrow. I see. I've got a collab, and it's like gonna be like at like afternoon, maybe all the entire day.
Oh, Paz doesn't want to collab with me.
What do you mean?
Anymore. He's all baguetted out from our Paradise Killers collab.
No. Actually, oh my god. Out of all the collabs I've done, don't get me wrong, I enjoy a lot of my other collabs, but like that collab was such a vibe. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because it was basically just chatting stream with really cool Nintendo Switch aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. I just wish there were more games like that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good segue to kind of talking about like once you find someone that you're interested in collabing with, right? And there's different ways of going about this. Once you find like someone that you want to collab with, you reach out to them. One thing I think is really important is to have an idea of what you want to do before reaching out, because I'll say this: there are some collabs that have been proposed to me that have gone through, and collabs that have been proposed to me that haven't gone through. And the ones that don't go through are just, hey, we should collab sometime. Like, if you're gonna reach out and say, hey, we should just like collab sometime, I'm gonna be like, okay, like, what are you thinking? Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know you. So like, what made you think of me? Like, what?
I
Versus
think
like,
a better question to pose if you're going to ask someone to collab, like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to collab with you. What are some interests you have, so that way we can pick something together that share together,
Yeah.
like that are good options. Like, you can't just say something like, I like blue. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to like.
Okay.
I like painting. Painting is a good. Like, there's a few painting things that you could probably do for collaborations. But like having a game more specific, like I like first-person shooters, would be like the more specific you get it, the better you guys can figure out. Well, okay, well let's look at a list of games, or you could suggest some games, or I could suggest some games, and then we'll go from there. You know.
Yeah, I have two collab requests that come to mind when I think of like some of the best requests I've ever received. One was from OMG Plays a Game, and he reached out to me and he was like, hey, have you heard of this game Celeste? And I was like, no, I haven't heard of that game. And he was like, if you haven't heard of that game, first of all, look it up, play it, it's amazing. Second of all, I am doing a charity event and I speedrun this game, and I am looking for someone who hasn't played it to race me through this game for charity. Would you be interested in that? That collab was amazing. Like, I think, and that way of coming and asking was also fantastic. First of all, you gauge my interest, right? Like, you reach out and you say, have you played this game? I say, no. First of all, you play the game. It's a great game. You might like it. Second of all, here's my idea. And the other one was actually Jen. When you reached out to me to play We Were Here, that was so fun. Like, you were like, hey, do you want to do this game with me? And I was like, yeah, like, why haven't we done this yet? Like, absolutely.
I think it was even during like a long stream that I was doing you. I just asked, hey, do you want to jump in the middle of stream? Let's go to play this puzzle game.
Exactly. But like, I think that having some kind of concept of what you want to do is helpful, or even just opening the conversation to that concept, right? Even if you aren't sure exactly what game, like going to someone and being like, hey, I know you don't usually play horror games, but hey, Blair, do you want to come do this thing with me? Because she's like the super wholesome charity streamer, and it's like, hey, like, let's step out. I think it would be really entertaining and good content to step outside the comfort zone and both of us play this like super scary game. Or, you know, reaching out to Paz and being like, hey, Paz, do you want to join me for voice acting for this thing? Or like, just kind of even knowing your person and what they do and don't already do, and proposing that can be helpful too. Because even if you don't know what game, you could even be like a genre, be like, hey, I want to play a game in this genre, but I don't know which one yet. Would you be interested in playing with me and figuring it out together?
I do also want to say, it doesn't have to be a game either. You could do collaborations where you talk about hobbies, discuss hobbies, or even perform the hobbies themselves. Like, I know I caught the tail end of Egan doing a Lego stream, but he also had one of his friends there. I don't know if the friend did like streaming as well, but like something like that. Like, you could do it in person. It doesn't have to be like, because I know a few IRL streamers in real life that are within like distance. But like, even if like you can't have them over in one stream, you can also just like have them on stream. I know there's a few painting streams where I've tuned into where they're painting miniatures, and they have the other person on their other end, like they're also painting in miniatures, but you also have like both screens on one stream, they're both streaming, but like you get to see both perspectives of what they're doing. So like you can also do hobbies. It's not restricted to specifically games.
You can even do just chatting. I mean, that's a collab.
Actually, you want to discuss, because I caught also a bit of the BTS collab with you and Murph. You want to give a little insight on that?
Yeah, so one collab that I do with Murph every now and then is she will pull up BTS concerts and we'll just watch the concerts together. And for the most part, just like simp over the guys, to be honest. Most of it is just us going like but yeah, like I really love that. It's very different from other content that I am part of. But it's super nice and freeing to like just enjoy watching something with someone that you're passionate about and like sharing that together. And like I think that chat also enjoys that because it's just two people with a shared passion just having a good time and chatting with them. And this last one, Moth Mom just like jumped in the call at some point, like at the end, and we're all just bantering back and forth, and it just like is a good time. But yeah, that's it's definitely like one of the more unique collabs that I have been a part of for sure.
Yee. Mm-hmm. Do either you, Mafi, or Vgen have ever had a stream collab where neither of you were specifically like playing a game? You were either just chatting or hanging out with the other collaborator?
Might need some time to think. Jen?
I've had a stream once, not on my channel, but we did a tier list of VTuber models once.
Ooh, yeah.
It went a little bit crazy because if it's like two people, it's kind of easy to make a tier list, but when there's 6 or 7 people giving you an opinion, kind of goes nuts. Besides that, the outside of gaming, just the Pokemon Jeopardy that we did a few weeks ago.
That was a total blast. I loved the Pokemon Jeopardy. When are we doing it again?
Oh god!
But this time, let's do Digimon and really throw everybody off.
I can do Digimon.
I know nothing about Digimon.
Even better, because I was during the stream. I looked it up and I was like, "Oh, Baguette says she knows like 5 out of 10." I asked players, they say, "Oh, I'm casual with the game. I probably won't know much." I asked Sim, he says the same thing, and I was thinking, okay, Cloud is gonna blaze through the questions. Meanwhile, the raccoon wins.
yeah. I want to talk about the Jeopardy collab because one thing that as somebody participating in a collab, just something to think about if you're ever trying to host one is being prepared with your technology can go a long way. And that collab that we did with Jen, I'll speak on it from the perspective of somebody who was invited in. Not only did he have everything ready to go to stream to us so that we could see the Jeopardy board live, he had a buzzer system that had already been tested and worked. He had all the questions working. He had tested it out with a few other people for difficulty to make sure that it was on track. And so that went like super duper smooth. It made it a lot of fun because we weren't sitting, you know, as the guests on Jen's stream, just like waiting for Jen to do, you know, this or that, because he was already prepared and ready for all the different technology related challenges that were going to show up to host the game. So like kind of segueing, but also just kind of touching on like the importance of preparation for your collabs. Because once you find somebody to collab with and a topic to collab on, that's the next thing you have to do is figure out setup. Because if you can't even make it work what you want to do, then you need to be ready for that.
Yeah, the least you have to make the others work, the best. The easier you can get the collabs.
Yeah, because they'll come back because they enjoyed collabing with you.
Yeah. Starting with the first idea of having some sort of an idea what you want to do is already halfway done. Is that you get an extra 50% of actually getting the collab with that person.
Yeah, because they don't have to think about what to do. They just gotta
Yeah.
show up.
Show up.
Show up is ready to go. Yeah. So, on top of like finding good people to collab with, finding something that you have a shared interest in, let's talk about the importance of making sure that collabs are also audience friendly. I feel like if there's one thing I see go kind of amiss with collabs and like maybe some less experienced content creators, it's when the collab is not focused at the audience at all and is not friendly for the viewers. I've definitely had people who I normally enjoy their content. I've had to click away from a collaboration as a viewer because I'm like, well, shoot, like you guys are just like talking over each other. I can barely hear the other person, or we've been maybe doing a game series and now you have people on stream and we're not getting anywhere with the game and the story, or maybe even it's a situation where you have a 3 or 4 person collab and multiple people are streaming and they're talking to their chats and you're talking to your chat and nobody can understand what's really going on. And as a viewer, that can be really, really like overstimulating.
Yes.
So what are some tips that you guys would give to somebody in terms of hosting or coordinating a collab that would make it more viewer friendly? I've listed some of the things that like bug me as a viewer, but that's not a very positive way of phrasing it all.
If no one else is going to take the lead on this one, I will definitely. So here's with one thing with me. I've said it a bunch of times on like the previous podcasts. Like all my energy in my streams very chaotic. There's always a lot going on, and like for me personally, like if I do a collab, the first thing I ask the other person is like, is it okay if I don't stream? Like normally that's the general gist. It's like if you're doing collab, it's like one person. At least as to how I see it. But like I will ask them, hey, is it okay if I don't stream? Because like my energy on my streams can definitely be a bit much for a collab, because like if you take it in from the view of like the other person's stream, they're gonna be like, why is he screaming? Why is he shouting? Who is this other person he's yelling at? Why is he saying that he's getting shot? Like it would be just such a confusing mess that it's like I feel like for the other people's audience, it's better that I opt not to stream. And like I could also disable a lot of the functions in my stream and then make sure it's very clear that, hey, look, these are not enabled. But like honestly, with my kind of audience and with the kind of content they particularly like to watch for me, they want those options. And like I'm not gonna say like I'm obligated to give it to them. To a certain extent, yes, but like also I control my own stream. I can make the decisions at the end of the day, but like I want to make sure that they're getting at least some form of the expectation that they want. And for the collaboration, in order to meet the collaboration's needs, I don't think it's conducive for me and my energy to stream. But like I can still do collabs. Like I can still perform in collabs and do very well as far as like being entertaining. And I think you as like another content creator should understand also your kind of energy and what you bring to the table, and kind of like figure out, because sometimes like internet personalities, the way they perform just don't mesh well with collaborations, and you kind of gotta like figure out how would I make this work. And like for me in my circumstance, like me just not streaming is how I would make that work. That's one tip that I would suggest.
All good points, Paz.
I mean, I can keep going. I thought I'd put this open on the table, someone else to take the mic.
Mafi or Jen, any thoughts on that?
Looks up at me. Could you run by me the prompt?
Yeah. So the question is like tips for keeping your collabs friendly for your audience and your viewers.
I think I just kind of go into it making sure, like, I think part of it is what, like, not everyone has this, but especially with my whole IRL online dynamic, if there's someone that's already kind of like a VTuber or like content creator, they probably kind of know like a lot of the expectations of like, you know, having like a deafen or like mute kind of system if you're talking to chat. I know we touched base on that with Sim last week, or last pod anyway. So that kind of thing, to those that are unfamiliar with kind of the stream, like I think you do kind of have to manage and like gauge where they're at with that and whether or not they're being kind of naive of, hey, you know, like we get along, it'll be fine. Like there are some things that you kind of have to be like, all right, this person has a tendency to do this, so make sure that they're well briefed on what to do under the like this circumstance. So like I know with like Your Turn to Die and Danganronpa last year, I not only did I give synopsises to people if they required it, but I also made it like, although it's a lot of talking, like just talking like what's on screen, essentially just out loud, there was like, you're free to totally just kind of like when it's your turn, like address what's being said in chat or like address what's being said on stream kind of thing, just to make sure that that you're not just like, you're not entirely just like a television kind of program that's just like on, like that there is some like interaction, and that the viewers don't feel like they're isolated, almost like island away kind of thing.
Yeah. I will say one thing I appreciated when you were doing those was also the heads up about the fact that some of the lines in the game were voiced and some were not.
Yes.
And like from an audience perspective, that makes your stream a lot cleaner when your partner is not reading over the slightly acted lines all the time as well. Like, because what I know with your story-based games, like you do almost like a let's play style. So like it's cleaner when the person who's participating like knows when to talk and when not to talk too. So I appreciated that heads up as a participant in those collabs. And it made it more audience friendly.
I love the kind of fluidity of that, like just taking precautions of that, and I try to do it with other things too. But yeah, I'm glad.
yeah, no, definitely. Like, I point out these good things having collaborated with people, because I think that people can learn from the scenarios, right? Like the little attention to detail goes a long way in terms of making your collab partner feel more comfortable, more confident, but also it helps your audience experience as well because it doesn't look messy, if that makes sense. You know, it doesn't feel strained, forced, or messy, which is good for them. What about you, Jen? Tips and tricks for keeping your collabs interesting for your audience and viewers, or comfortable for them.
I think you guys said most of what I would say. On the Jeopardy, one of the things that I was a little bit sad was because I couldn't manage properly my interactions with the viewers. But that's all my fault. I was having so much fun I couldn't focus on the viewers. So I missed a lot of stuff that was going on in chat with Sweet, Tom, and Bear.
But I will say, like, sometimes viewers don't need you to be interacting with them directly. Even just having that genuine fun can be entertaining enough in itself.
Yeah.
And you know your chat, right? Like, you'll know your people and what they like and what they don't like and what they want from you. The fact that there's continued engagement in chat, Jen, that for you to miss messages means that they probably were enjoying the stream. So it's actually an indicator you did something right.
Yeah, besides that, like you guys said, reduce the amount of For example, I have the Twitch interactive. Like Baz likes to get hit with a frying pan now and again.
It's like turning off certain redeems.
Yeah,
Or
especially
turning them on.
the longest ones that might disturb the stream.
Yeah.
One of my biggest problems from last year, I used to have streams dedicated to D&D. And one of my mistakes was leaving my Portuguese for a few minutes on. Because back then it was 5 minutes. And 5 minutes of speaking in Portuguese when nobody understands you, probably not a good idea.
Listen, I leave that thing on because my chat loves to troll me with it so bad.
Yeah, it's good to have interactions with the viewer, but you have to balance out the costs of also influencing the collab.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's something that you go by learning. There's no manual script or rules of you have to take. You kind of learn as you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest sort of piece of advice I would give is if you are doing a co-stream situation, figure out your mute and deafen buttons, figure them out, get good at using them, practice. Because I have unfortunately seen too many collabs where from the viewer perspective, it is just so difficult to listen to just because there's clearly like 4 separate conversations with 4 separate chats happening. And for some collabs that I've seen be more successful, it's really that adept use of the mute and the deafen buttons. But also just setting expectations with chat can go a long way too. So like I know some creators that when they have a collaboration, they will like their chats know what's up. They know like, hey, this stream is going to be a little bit less about talking between us and a little bit more about talking between the collab partners. So if we're not super chatty with chat, just know we're not ignoring you. We're still reading your messages, but it's just difficult because there's so many people on stream to actually address those messages in the way that we normally would. So there's really like those 2 ways of going about it, and managing one way or the other goes a long way to making it a more positive experience for your audience.
I think another thing is this would be more viable for like maybe just a two people collab, maybe 3 most. If you go beyond 3, I think this could be an issue. But also having other people's chat log, like their chats like in a pop-up window off to the side, probably wouldn't hurt it. It's something you definitely would want to be very respectful because that's someone else's community that you could be addressing. But like, I think being in the know of like what's going on their side of the chat also could go the extra mile to make it a lot more conducive of an experience. So for example, I myself have seen where they pose a question to the streamer that you're collaborating with that's directed to you, and instead of having them go, oh, hold on, so-and-so is asking you a question, you could just answer the question yourself. But again, that's something that like I think you kind of need to have some level of social awareness of, because like maybe some streamers or content creators just they're not okay with you kind of like bypassing them to read their chat or something. I'm not certain. I'm not great at like understanding like the social dynamics of all that kind of like beyond me and my social interactions with the people I hang around with, but like I'd imagine that may be the case. So I would say be careful, but I think it would be very good to make it more of a conducive experience for the viewer or viewers with the different communities.
I think also, even if you don't put like chats on screen, but multiple POVs can be helpful for certain games as well. Like being able to see what everybody is seeing can make chat a little bit more aware of what's going on. And that can be really helpful. That reminded me, Paz, I'm so glad you said this. I am going to just go out on my soapbox again here for a second. If you are doing a collab where you are not streaming, but you are on someone else's stream, pro tip, you can raid into their chat in your OBS before stream starts. And now you can see their chat as if it was your chat live. which can be super helpful especially if you're a VTuber, because spoiler alert, VTubers are always staring at ourselves when we're playing video games, right? We're looking at our avatar, we're monitoring our facial expressions or body positions, making sure that everything's still working properly. We're doing those check-ins. So you might be accustomed, especially if you are projecting your VTuber onto someone else's stream, to checking that area anyway. And so having their chat in your OBS in one spot is so helpful. Just go to your offline chat in OBS, type /raid in their username and raid in, and their chat will show up. Game changer. Like, honestly, game changer.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that, but I think that's clever.
I've never shared that with you before. Oh my gosh. It's actually it's somewhat because of you that I know that, Mafi, because of all the times you raided me when we were both offline. Like right now. Like how Mafi or someone just raided me. It's Paz. Paz just raided me.
I don't know what you're talking about. Wasn't me. I didn't do it.
I have French Brother Bear blasting in my ears now. Thank you.
I thought this would be like a bit ago, but no, it's happening right now. Noted.
Well, hey, cool. I get to claim a bonus on Baguette's channel.
At least I didn't do my full K-pop dance when you did that. I'm really glad that I disconnected my feet from my Twitch before we recorded this.
Mid-podcast, gets to start dancing.
Oh my god. But yeah, that's like my little pro tip. But yeah, Mafi, I know, because you used to offline raid me all the time. And then I put that together with the fact that, like, when I would raid people and leave my PC up to lurk in their stream overnight when I would go to bed, I would come back and my OBS would have traveled through everyone's chats, right? Like, to the end of the raid chain. And I was like, I could leverage this. Like, so, just FYI.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't think we have anything else as far as like the viewer and collab interactions. So if we're good, we could go ahead and move on to the next talking subject: communications. Communicating with your collaboration, setting things up, talking about stuff. Basically maybe setting some stuff like ground rules. Like another thing that like is a really good one for when you're doing a collab is talk about the do's and don'ts. Hey, I'm okay with these sort of things. Like maybe the person you're collaborating, like I myself, I'm not like against like people swearing on my channel, provided it's one of the major no-nos. But like I know there are people that are family friendly, so swearing on their streams is like that's a no-no. Don't do that, you know. So having those rules set up, the do's and don'ts, and it doesn't necessarily have to be things like swearing. There can be other things like, hey, maybe we're playing Minecraft, no trolling. You know, something as simple as that could just be just setting the ground rules, really. Like whatever you're okay with and what you're not okay with.
I think I'd actually unfortunately like to report that I feel like I see a lot of cases where some people kind of like as much as communicating and setting those rules like ahead of stream are important. I think it's just as important on you to read the room.
Yes.
Like I think I think you guys will touch base on the first part of the communication, but like I think on the other end, like it goes both ways. Like you do need to like I think it helps when you've like collabed with a person before, or not collab with a person. You've like watched their kind of stream before and you know how their style of content goes, and especially if you have a typically like different way of going about it, like you kind of do have to like, especially if you're not the main person like of the collab, like it's not on your channel kind of thing, making sure that their chat isn't intimidated by you or put off by the way you conduct yourself. So yeah, I unfortunately like kind of see like a little bit of, yes, be yourself, but kind of tone it down. Like I think there's a necessity for that in some.
I think I think Mafi, that what you say really resonates with me as the fact that when people talk about collaborations and communication, I think there is a lot of focus placed on the pre-collab communication, right? Like, we'll meet at this time, we'll call in a voice call, or we'll join a VC. This is how we'll do tech setup. I'll be streaming, you won't be streaming, or we both will be streaming. Here's what we're playing, all of those different things, right? Hey, here's how my channel runs, here's how it doesn't run. And like little things like that. But I think the important thing to remember about a collab is that the communication never stops. And that communication may or may not be verbal. It can be verbal and nonverbal communication. And it is up to both collab partners to be communicative and receive communication as well, right? So, because when we talk about like collabs, like, yeah, planning a collab can feel really intimidating, but also joining a collab can be really intimidating. And so just knowing that like it's important to try to read the room. And if you're not good at reading the room, ask questions beforehand too. Like, everybody needs to be communicating constantly all the way up until we hit the end call button, right? And even after that, thank you for having me. Like, it doesn't just end because you went live, right? Like, you're constantly going to be communicating and adjusting and readjusting and working through things as you go through the collab.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you can imagine like you are a guest on someone's house. You want to just go there and start putting your feet on the table, or just decide to do things on your own. You're a guest. You have to have some respect for the other person's rules.
Yeah. No feet pics on Jen's stream.
No. I don't have feet. They were not implemented on the model.
Listen, I've got ankle shading. It's fantastic. You're not gonna see it, but it's there. Yeah. No, 100%. Like, being mindful, I think, is important. But I will say as well, one of the biggest sources of conflict is ambiguity. So like, don't be ambiguous either. Obviously, if you're live, like, there's certain things that are harder or easier to address, but before you hit go live, like, being clear about certain things can definitely help. If you have a very specific way of managing your brand or managing your content and you want your collaborators to help you uphold that brand standard, make sure that they know that that's what they're stepping into. Because if you pitch it to them like it's casual and then it's not casual and it's very much supposed to be very formal, then there's going to be a lot more adjustment needed live on stream, which can still be done, but can also be really difficult, right? Especially if people with neurodivergencies, being aware of those types of things. So like, yeah, just communicate a lot. Mm-hmm. If you think you're communicating enough, you're not. Communicate more.
One thing I would also like to kind of stress upon, like, it's okay if it's a game, you're just playing a game, not that big of a deal. This is more of a moot point, but like, if you're setting up something a little bit more complex, even if it's just slightly more. So for example, if you're going from one game, you plan on doing 2 different video games in one stream, communicating, hey, okay, so here's the game plan. We're gonna do this for this long, and then at this point, or when everybody's ready, we'll go on to this game, and we're gonna do it for this long. And like, that's just a very simple thing, but like, the way more complicated stream, like for example, when we did I can't remember which stream, I think it was Save It for Slight, we did a few different things, or yeah. Like, so having a game plan, at least like a rough draft. I would ask, have at least a rough draft of what your game plan for that stream is gonna go miles, because then like, I would feel bad if like you're doing a stream, collaboration, and then out of the blue, like you as the host, or not as the host, but like you as the person on the other end, the collaborator, it's like, oh yeah, we're playing a different game. And I was just like, oh, I wasn't ready. All right, hold on. Like, having a game plan like just goes way so far. It helps everybody else. It makes the viewers even feel like, hey, this was kind of pre-planned. This is going smoothly, Yeah,
it's less distraction as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think even like when you don't have it pre-planned with I think you will have the common courtesy to at least say what games like you'll be playing, but sometimes I feel like I remember this with a collab with Baguette, where we'll kind of just take a break to make sure that the games work on our end.
Yep.
So sometimes we'll take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to just like, if you're set, you're set. But the rest of us, we're gonna grab that damn cookie that we've been craving for the past 2 hours, or something, or refill our water because somebody spammed hydrate. You know. So
Yeah.
I think that's okay as well. Just to kind of take that breather. It doesn't need to be all intense, and it's actually a great way to kind of let your collab mates just breathe.
Yeah, taking breaks is really important, and taking the time to test and set things up, even midstream, is helpful. One tip I'll share when it comes to that is actually a technology-based tip. Separate out your Discord audio from your rest of your stream audio. It will make your collab life so much easier. There is a huge benefit to being able to like continue to play music on stream, or if you have like words on stream playing during a break, to still be able to be in your Discord call and talking to your collab partner during that break without chat being able to hear you. Not because you want to talk shit about chat, although chat, if you're being heinous, that's on you. But just because if, you even before stream starts, right, being able to say like, okay, hey, I'm going to greet chat, and then I will say hi to the people, and then I will unmute you, and then they'll be able to hear you, is really nice to like set the stage for them. Or if you're swapping games during a break, being able to actually coordinate that over the call during the break without chat listening in or seeing that transition live can just be really good for everybody's experience. And also, like, maybe somebody forgets to mute their mic over the break and they get up and they cough really loud, and then they're embarrassed because they realize that your entire chat heard them cough, right? Like, you're also protecting them and their privacy during the break moments when you do that. So separate out your audio sources. There's tons and tons of YouTube videos on how to do that. Super helpful for those collabs.
Honestly, that's an amazing segue into tech. One thing I want to kind of piggyback off of that, it's not something that you have to do. It's a great quality of life, and I know I said this, I think, the other podcast. Audio ducking. You can set up your Discord audio that you just split to duck your desktop audio. So if you have music in the background while you're streaming with your collaboration mates, when they talk, that volume will dip down, so your game volume or desktop volume or music, whatever have you, is not overtaking them, so your audience can hear them. I think that's a great quality of life.
I totally agree. Well, before we move on to technology, I want to touch on one more communication thing that I think is actually really applicable to this group, and that is time zones.
Oh, yes.
Oh boy.
So, Jen, you're on a totally different time zone. So what time is it for you right now?
It's 10 till 1.
In the morning, right?
Yep.
The 1 in the morning?
It's
Yep.
1 a.m.
Yep. And it is almost 7 p.m. where I am, and then that would make it 8 for Paz and Mafi.
Yep.
Remembering the time zone difference between you and the other content creators can be really helpful in proposing a time, and also just making sure that, like, again, you're clear on what time you're starting. Because if I said start at 7, but I don't specify what time zone, that can mean different things to every single person that I'm talking to. One tool that I like to use that is really helpful, especially if you're preparing a collab with a large group, is a doodle form. If you Google doodle forms, they're super duper helpful. It basically allows you to set proposed like slots, and people can go in and check mark the slots where they're available, and it will make it native to their time zone. So for my 1-year anniversary stream, I had I want to say 16 different collaborators over the span of the stream. And they were all in different time zones with different availability. And so I sent out my doodle form and just had them check off what times they could potentially be on stream, which helped me set up a schedule for who would come in when. And because it was native in their time zone, it was easier for them to read and understand, like, oh yeah, I can come on from 7 to 10 p.m., but after that, I'm not available. And that would immediately translate it for me into what that equals for me. So just shameless plug for Doodle Forms. Really useful scheduling tool.
It's also a great piece of technology.
Yeah.
Which is still a great segue. Before we move on to the next onto the segue, do we have anything else we want to talk about for communication?
I don't think.
No? All right, cool. So
That's a lot of
so
communication.
technology for collabs. For visuals, one that I would personally recommend. There's two actually, but they both fulfill the same purpose. Either Fuji Tech, for those that may either have, like, maybe it's an issue a lot with the processing power of the current streaming software, or maybe it's just like an internet, like they don't have the bandwidth. It just takes like a PNG, like a talking one and a not talking one. It could even be the same image. And it just kind of like does like an animate between the two different things. It has a few more features, not too many, but essentially it all revolves around that purpose. Or Video Ninja, which is what all four of us are currently, well, three technically if you don't include me because I'm not really using it, but anyways, yeah, we're all using it. I'll even use it when I'm not hosting a podcast, but it's a fantastic visual tool to show other people. It doesn't even have to be your VTuber model. It can be the game that you were both playing, like your perspective per se, or you could even throw your VTuber model on top of it, so it can be both. You know, it's your model and your perspective.
Yeah. Just one thing about Fujitech, it is a Discord related software program. So if you're for whatever reason not using Discord to communicate with your collab partners, just know that it could be a little bit more complicated for you. It is basically, it'll default to whatever the person's Discord profile picture is, but they can change that on their end by searching up the reactive Fujitech. And then they can change what icons shows, and then you as the host can adjust settings as well for like if it's gonna bounce or go dark when they're not talking and things like that. So that's a huge one. Those little things are so helpful too for your audience because it helps them to place the voices so they don't just think that they have voices in their heads.
It also you can also use it to be cohesive to your theme. So, for example, when I do my Wednesday collaboration with Johnny and Xavi, Johnny is an owl. I just basically reskinned Indy, my owl, to match Johnny. And then when we do collabs on Saturday with me, Kalani, Johnny, and Agent Munch, she makes us all ducklings. So we're all ducklings on her stream. And it's not something that you have to do. It's probably, if you're gonna do it, like, me and my friends were really already like cohesive. We've been friends for before we even started streaming, so it's not even really a question. But like if you're just out of the blue, like, I'm gonna turn you into something, I would recommend you talk to them first, make sure they're okay with it. Like it's just being formal about it. Just don't change them on a whim because you want it to match your theme.
I think the kind of the comment that kind of like reminded me of something just now, because I'm like, oh my god, like idea come to me, is like letting them kind of what is it? Oh, don't blank it on me now.
Come on, Mafia, I believe in you.
What I essentially wanted to allude to is I have a lot of people that are kind of not used to the way we kind of set up. This might be like more to a point earlier in Paz's thing, but like Fugi, like setting up the Fugis and stuff like that with them, making sure that making sure that their Discord profile pictures don't go through, because some of the people that you might be collaborating with are just completely unfamiliar with how you set up these collabs in the first place. What's really neat is you can screen share like when you're collabing with them, especially when they're not streaming their point of view. They can just kind of watch the stream through you just sharing your screen on Discord. I know that like through Danganronpa, for example, a lot of the people that like to collab with me, although there is a little bit of delay when you watch it through OBS, they get to see chat that way, which is just kind of a good way to, and then they get to see, I'm a gremlin that only uses one like computer, or one monitor, I should say, and they can see exactly what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah.
So it helps kind of communicate what tech you're using at that moment in time and what you're paying attention to.
Yeah. So there's really, I think there's those two ways to get visual representations of your people. And that can work, by the way. Video Ninja technically works also for your face cam streamers as well. They can also share their OBS virtual camera and you can put them on your stream. I've done that before with my IRL peeps, not just for VTubers. The other option is you can also have them turn on their camera or virtual camera in Discord, and you can capture that window and add it to your OBS as well. That gets more complicated when you have more than one collaboration partner. And like can cause some extra scuff, but if you're a beginner and you're just having one person on and they want to do it that way, that's totally an option as well. But yeah, Mazi, I agree with you about like making sure to take the time, if you're going to be using no matter what kind of tech you want to use, to get with whoever it is beforehand and have time to explain to them like, this is what it's going to look like. Does that all look good to you? Are you okay with that? Or if they need help with setup, be a resource and available to them to do that. So like, what's everybody's pre-collab ritual? Do you guys like have those for technology and setup?
It depends on the collab for me. Like for example,
Fair.
Wednesdays is just a hop in and we go. Saturday, same thing with Kalani. Just because we've done it so many times, it's just a hop in and we're just hit the button and we're good to go. If it's someone that I haven't collabed with before, or it's someone that I have with before, but we haven't done it recently, like, I'd say roughly I give it about a 30-minute, like, before we were to hit that go live button. That's at the very bare minimums, depending on how complicated the stream is. Usually it's not that complicated for me, but, like, that's the time for the setup phase. Like, all right, if we haven't already agreed upon it, we got to talk about, hey, how do you want your representation on stream to be? Do you want to be a Fugi tech? Do you want to be video? If we're doing video, I got to green screen you in. If we're doing Fugi, do you want to use one of my owls? Do you want to use one of your own? Like, it's just, we got to have a little conversation. We got to figure out what we're doing technology wise. Do a quick audio test. Again, always test your audio. Right before we did this podcast, there was a reason why we always tested the audio. It's because Paz forgot to unmute his mic. But like, check your settings. Just do the run through. For me, it doesn't usually take longer than a half hour. That's why I do a half hour pre-test.
What about you, Jen?
Yeah, I usually just use the Fugi. Because I don't trust my computer. I think the first time I used Vgenerator was with Baguette with the Weaver here.
Listen, it was so much fun.
Yeah, my computer almost blew up with it. Baguette was so laggy.
Listen, I still had a great time, but just delayed.
Exactly. So if it's just one person, I can do with the Video Ninja. With multiple, Fugi is enough, and still with multiple people, I have had, like I said, the D&D time. I used to have Fugis for everybody, and it was like six of them on the screen, plus screen sharing the map and D&D Beyond, and my computer was not liking it.
And being aware of that processing power and trying to maximize what you can and can't do and making decisions based on that is super important too. I know, like, for me, I I don't really mind if people want to do the video ninja or if they want to be little PNGs. I kind of leave that up to my guest. The only time that it's ever maybe important would be like if it was something that I was really passionate about, like both of our facial expressions being visible for whatever reason, which is not common. But it's really up to I leave it up to my guest. And then same thing, like when I'm going somewhere though, I leave it up to the host. I'm like, I could do either one. I don't really care whichever one you want to do. But the one thing I'll say has been really helpful for my streams has been like what you're talking about, Mafi, like sharing the stream and sharing the OBS virtual camera to the Discord call as well, even if they can't hear it. Them being able to like see things like when I get a raid or when somebody has me doing 15 dances in a row, just adds that visual context for them so that they are, you know, able to also pause with me and react more in real time to what's going on. So just like having that going. And then since I have the 2 PC set up, I usually put my alt account in the call as well and share the game so they can have game audio as well. I know there's probably a way for me to share stream audio and visual. I know because I did a collab with OMG Plays a Game and he had that set up, and I need to ask him how he did it, because honestly, like that would be amazing, so that they can hear and see the same things that I hear and see, including like sound alerts or things like that, so that they are not getting, you know, they're not being like, if they're trying to talk, they don't end up talking at the same time as an alert going off. And they can be heard. So like, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought you were dead. What's that called? I guess it was like rituals, yeah. On my end, the big thing is I feel like anything over 2 to 3 people, like VTuber models wise, like live VTuber models, not like PNGs and stuff, I would like anything more than that, I would definitely just be like, we're PNGing and just kind of letting them know that, just because I think a lot of computers would just generally struggle to get like anything more than that going and fluid and not lag out and make like your setup explode. But it's double checking that everyone has the right Fugi, that they're reacting properly. I also stare at OBS. I kind of go, all right, music audio, how high does it go up on the like decibel like meter kind of thing? And then I literally like list them off. I'm like, all right, Paz, talk. And then like they'll go into like the yellow zone. That's kind of how I like it, or like greenish yellow, and then it'll be Bag, and then it'll be Jen, like and that's how I'd kind of like having that calibrated. It kind of ensures like if you don't have like, you know, like the docking thing that I think Paz
Audio
alluded
ducking.
to earlier.
Ducking.
That's it. That's something that you can kind of work with your collaborative crowd, and you can kind of go like take turns, I guess, and figure that stuff out. Yeah.
Another good thing I would recommend: add a filter that I think it's called a limiter to your Discord audio, so that way it doesn't peak. Because like most of the time it's fine until one of the persons in the Discord, you know, they get overexcited and then they shout or scream, and then on the Discord's end, or not Discord, OBS's end, it goes from the yellow into the red. That pretty much, not always, but almost always means that it's a bad audio experience for the viewer, because that means the audio just peaked. So having a limiter just kind of like makes it more of, again, a quality of life thing for your viewers. And I think that will go the extra mile, and they'll definitely appreciate that.
I wouldn't know anything about getting excited and then screaming into a mic on a Paz stream. I've never done that in my life.
Yeah.
Never once.
Yeah.
Never once.
Yeah.
Never.
I haven't done a limiter, but I don't know if I've done it with you two, because you guys have been part of the Danganronpa thing, where like, I'll be like, what's the loudest you're going to be? I think just asking that question, because like I don't mess around with limiters or ducking or any of that sort, so I'm just old school with it.
Yeah, I'd say I'm also a little more old school with it. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I definitely do like the quick make constant noise while I make sure everything's working. And then usually people are going, wow, in my ear.
That's like perfect because she peeks.
Yep. Yep.
Listen. I can't help it. I got those theater pipes, man. Gotta project the back of the room.
Funny enough, I just learned about a 3-band, what 3-band equalizers does. Something like that could also, but I don't know if I know you could set it up for your Discord audio in OBS. However, Discord has its built-in limitators and stuff, so adding a 3-band equalizer to that would be kind of counterproductive. So the workaround to something like that you would have to have them disable it on their end so that there is no filters through audio, so when it comes through as more of a raw format on Discord, then it goes through your 3-band equalizer, so you can reduce the highs on their end, so that way they don't just simply, when on OBS in Discord, the audio just cuts, because they hit the peak. Technology is complicated.
I was gonna say I kind of blanked.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Tech words.
It was like a 20, because like I was going through, because I like to learn things sometimes. It was like I was watching a video, like I keep seeing 3-band equalizer. I don't know what it is, so I googled it and I found out what it is. I'm like, that's really neat. I'm gonna set it up, and then it's like I can't set it up for everything because like Discord audio, it automatically has filters built into it, so it's kind of counterproductive. But yeah.
I just realized we forgot to talk about a secret 4th collab option for VTubers because we are all 3D. We may not be aware of this, but for your 2D VTuber friends, VTube Studio does have a DLC that is specifically for collabs that puts you in the same world as each other. It's a little bit different than Video Ninja. So when you use Video Ninja, you are independent sources in your OBS. And so depending how you have those layered, you can cover each other up or not. And then like, depending on how you set it up, either they'll have access to your full screen. Like if I were to, depending on how it's all set up, right? Like if I zoom in like this, and my entire screen was someone's full screen, I would be taking up their full stream. With Video Ninja, you can set it up so that they can't do that, so that they're limited to a square, kind of like how Paz has it set up right now. With V2, the VTube Studio collab, I believe you're just like in the same world, like you're all in there. So for those 2D friends who are collabing with other 2D friends, that is another option available to you. And I believe it's not terrible on the processing power either. It's just FYI.
Oh, one thing I would also like to mention, because we did bring it up about splitting your audio, for those that need to know what kind of software it is. The one that I personally use is Voice Meter, and then it's specifically Voice Meter Banana. Thought I'd mention that now, because we kind of glossed over it, and people were like, all right, how do I do it? Like, what do I use? So
you can also do it natively in OBS. So I actually do it through OBS. I have desktop audio disabled on my OBS, and then I bring in individual window captures. I have a separate scene called NS for nested source audio sources, and I bring in the window audio beta capture thing that they have in OBS. And capture each thing uniquely, and then that becomes a new slider for mixing on the mixer. So that's how my audio is actually split up, is just in OBS.
Yeah,
but if you don't use desktop audio, you don't have to do that.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, sure is. I then pop that nested source into all of my other sources so that the audio doesn't take up, tons of scroll sections in the list of things on the source in the scene.
That's
so yeah,
really neat.
just you can do it that way too. I love Voice Meter and I hate Voice Meter. Listen, I could go on about Voice Meter for some time. It's a great tool. But if you don't know what you're doing, it can be a pain in the butt.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was me earlier today when I found out what was supposed to be my Discord audio was my entire desktop audio, and I was just like, why is this happening? What did I change? I didn't change anything. Yeah. Are we good with technology? Are we ready to move on to the next subject?
I think so.
Which one to choose? What about?
I think.
Go ahead.
We haven't touched on cross promotion yet.
Yes, cross promotions. Now, for me, when I first, because like I was kind of drafting up like the bullet points, and like it's like I thought this wasn't really going to be relevant, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, you know what? This is rather relevant. And for those that are kind of wondering what the heck we mean by cross promotions, is like, so when we're doing a collaboration, like at the end of like these podcasts, we'll ask like, hey, where can someone find you? And then of course you list off your thing. That's like at least how I visualize like cross promotions, like because like when you're doing collaboration, maybe your viewers who were like, oh, that person's really interesting, where can I find them? Like that's part of it. But like it's like sharing the community. It's kind of like getting everybody to view the other people that you share interest with, that are close friends or people you just met. Like it's honestly what Twitch has described as the best way to grow on Twitch, and I'd have to agree with them. And like for me, like one of the key things, like, and I'm not gonna speak everything off because I want to give everybody else a time on the mic as well, but like the one thing I always do, or at least try to my best ability, is like make sure to add them in the Twitch channel. It will give them a direct link for them to click on and go to the people that you're collaborating with. And you can just like, it's just right there. It's like it's a hyperlink essentially.
Okay, Twitch makes it a lot easier. With just the app, and you can also use when you're going to start the stream. You can also use other social media to cross promote whoever you're collabing with, which is very important. We cannot stress enough.
Yeah, like just going onto Twitter and tagging their Twitter and be like, I'm live with this person. Let them retweet you. If they're going live and you're on their stream, retweet their tweet or whatever it is that they do to advertise that they're going live. Or if you're on their schedule, retweet their schedule. Little things like that can go a long way to supporting that content creator who's hosting you, and getting to know their communities and letting them get to know yours as well.
I think I guess icing on the cake is to also, well, I say icing on the cake. Another important aspect of cross promoting is seeing if you want to coordinate a graphic together. What helps is, especially if you're the main streamer, maybe you can take it upon yourself to kind of create the graphic itself, and then you kind of just ask for the resources such as PNGs and just kind of other things that they can like slap on, whether they are your handles that you're going to be slapping on that promotional artwork or whatever. But make sure you ask, just because I think the people that are involved with you, if they're like a regular fixture or they're like, the whole point is that they're along, add them to your stuff, Flex your friends, flex your collab mates.
Yeah. In fact, I made one for when me, Xavi, and Johnny all do Raft, and I think it's hilarious. I made sure, of course, to get their approval before I submitted it, because like, I put like Johnny, like I had to draw Johnny's little PNG because he doesn't have like art for his character, who he is at the moment. Maybe he will in the future. I'm not sure. He hasn't really found a direction, so I kind of took his Discord profile and just like made it. And then I threw him on like a ripped man with a six-pack abs, shirtless, and it was like I took Xavier and I put him on a ripped, furry fox man's body, and I'm just like, and then there's just, as Baguette likes to call shitty Paz.
I love shitty Paz. I love shitty Paz.
He's not shitty. He's just goofy.
I want you to know that's Cloud. That's Cloud's nickname for him that I stole.
Why?
So you can take it up with him.
Why?
You can take it up with Cloud.
God. But needless to say, like, I did that, and that's what I post to Twitter when we go live on Wednesdays. Another thing I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, having your Twitch bot or whatever kind of bot that you use that periodically gives like messages in your Twitch chat, having one where it drops like, hey, if you want to know their socials, here's the command, or here is their socials. Having something like that can also go an extra mile. I don't think it would certainly hurt. I don't think, your chat will mind per se,
Yeah. Keep in mind that even if some collabs can just be casual and people who are friends playing games together, but just keep in mind, especially if you're collabing with someone new, or you're doing it specifically for a networking opportunity of somebody that you enjoy and whose community you enjoy, that you're promoting the crap out of them, because they are taking time away from their content creation schedule to come create content with you that they really don't even get that much access to at the end of the day, right? Like, if you don't publish the VOD, they can't see it. So even if something really funny happens, like, they're not going to have access to that. And for some people, content creation is their full-time work. So them taking time away from their work schedule to come and work with you, just being mindful of that and making sure that you reward them for being on your stream, right? Shout them out. Have your bot set up to shout them out. Give them opportunities to plug themselves at the beginning, in the middle, at the end of stream. Tag them in your title. Make cute little graphics. Make sure that you're announcing to your community and getting excited and hyping up that collab so that you can drive engagement over to them as well. Because then when you go on their channel someday, hopefully, then maybe do the same for you. This is how you get community intersection and how you build collective communities, which is such a fulfilling byproduct of collabing regularly with other people. I've met so many wonderful people who are part of our collective community that I've met them through collabs. So, like, if you want that, put in the work. Put in the work for your friends.
Also, one thing I don't know if we mentioned it, but just on the off chance, introduce them at the start of stream, right after you hit the go live, right after you got past your starting screen, and you open up your mic and you start chatting, like, hey. Hi, I am welcome in everybody. Hi, I hope you're all doing well. With me, I have, and then you introduce them. I think like that is a great start to the collab. Granted, when you get to like 16 plus people, I know I get it. It's a little hard. Probably not something you may want to do, but like for most casual collabs, like that isn't just like a massive group of people. I think that's just like a great putting your foot down on the right start, or whatever the analogy is for that. I think that's amazing. It got quiet, so I'm gonna assume we're done with cross promotions.
Wait, I think Jen might have something to say. Jen, go ahead.
There's also one thing almost every streamer probably uses, which is the shoutout command.
Oh yeah.
The easiest way is probably using the bot instead of using the Twitch one, because the Twitch has a cooldown. But doing just a command that's exclamation point shout out someone's name,
yeah.
or SO someone's name, then just spam every single name. Probably the easiest way to do it. I usually do it like that at the end of the stream if I'm collabing with someone. If it's just one person or just multiple, just spam the SOs at the end, so everybody can go directly to their Twitch and follow them.
Yeah, I know. You can also set up commands that your chat can use. So like McNux, for example, he has !co-host and he puts it in his title. And then if somebody wants to do !co-host when he's collaborating with somebody, it will drop their link on command in the chat. So like that's a really great way to set your collab partner up for success, because if somebody comes in and they go, wow, I really love this person's model, or I really love this person's energy, I want to follow them, and maybe they're on mobile and don't see the tag in the title or whatever, or don't know how to use the tag in the title, they might be more familiar with typing !collab or !co-host or whatever the case may be in your chat to obtain the actual link to follow. Setting those up. You can also put them on timers to go periodically throughout the stream if you want to do that as well.
Also, another thing, now I'm thinking about it, one minor thing, if you're doing YouTube, put them in your description. Just link them in there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
So, our next subject?
I think we've covered how to find people you vibe with, finding shared interests, communication, cross promotion, planning, coordination. We've talked about managing the viewer and collaboration. I think the really only thing that we haven't talked about is the importance of having fun and being authentic with your collab partners. We've touched on this in previous pods, but I'm gonna say it again. Don't treat a collab like they can give you something that you don't have.
All right, so what are y'all gonna give me?
Can smell that a mile away.
$20 as
$20. Chicken nuggets.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
I'll
But
give you
yeah.
frying pans.
He doesn't seem very happy with that.
Good. But yeah, your collab partner is not your opportunity to steal their community or force your way into their world. Don't do that. That's just shitty. Like
even if you went with that, it's not a good viable method, because like a lot of people that are, I don't want to use the word entrenched. It doesn't feel like it's the right word, but like a lot of people are kind of stuck to the people that they like watching. And one thing I've noticed is not a lot of people will, in collaborations, will freely hop over to the other person's collabs and kind of like watch them as well. So when you force yourself in that kind of situation, it kind of makes their, I don't want to use the word hostile, but like they're just like, I don't think I really want to watch this person, you know, like they go ahead.
It puts everyone on edge, right? Like the fellow content creator might sense that you're not really there for them, you're there for their audience. The audience can sense that their content creator that they care about is uncomfortable, and that's one way to really turn off a chat, man. Like like don't piss off the fans.
Yes.
I think I guess like the reverse of almost making it seem like you're leeching off them kind of thing, like for like collaborations. I kind of love like when I'm the bigger creator and they're just getting started. I think it is a good way of providing them exposure by like I'm assuming your friend here isn't collabing with you, like your friends, and they've probably just gotten like started, but like similar to how I like mentioned the whole Baguette thing, like with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet collab, it's a great way to kind of give them a soft landing and get used to maybe a bigger crowd and stuff like that. And I think in that sense, you can have a wholesome twist off kind of helping one another with your viewer pool and stuff. But when it's, if it's like you're doing it just to make it, you know, like you're trying to, you know, get that like iShowSpeed collab just to kind of leech off his fame or something of that sort, like, you know, that's not the greatest look if you're not trying to be besties with them, you know.
Yeah, and it is, you know, as someone who has also like collabed with people at various sizes, bigger and smaller than myself, like I do enjoy getting to share my community with smaller communities, because I think that there are a lot of small communities that are super underrated and deserve women recognition. And so I love being part of that. But it comes with the caveat of if, and I've not had this experience, thankfully, but if, you know, someone were to try to collab with me and I got the sense that it was actually, yes, I did have this experience. I'm not going to name names. But if I get the sense that it's just because you want access to my people and access to my community for your own gain and your own growth exclusively, and it has nothing to do with actually enjoying me or my content, then I'm sorry, I'm going to be selfish and maybe not want to with you. Because that's not, I'm down to help people grow, but I'm not down to be the person that you step on your way up. I'm not cool with that. Like, I did have that experience. Whoops.
I will say in that scenario, well, not really in that scenario, but like I think it's more important that you focus on providing entertainment, and you'll grow your community faster than if you were to try and leech off of other people's communities and grab viewers that way. Because ultimately, they may know you from that collab, but when they're watching you when you're not collabing with that person, they're gonna go, well, this isn't fun. And like that,
right, this isn't for boring, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, focus if that's the case. Like, if you want to grow, like, explosive, like, content is key. What you bring to the table is important. And yeah, collaborations is a fast way to grow, but like there are caveats to that. Like, it's not a free pass. You may wish it were.
You still gotta put in the work.
Yeah, exactly. You may wish it were, but it ain't.
Yep. Absolutely.
One thing I also want to mention is, like, when talking about like authenticity though, when setting up like a group events, group collaborations, make sure that everyone that is a part of that group, they're doing something that they will enjoy. Like, I would hate to be the host and like, all right, we're gonna play, oh, I'm trying to think of a game, I don't know, Among Us.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, Dead by Daylight. And then there's the one person that I was like, hey, you're gonna be part of the collab, and they hate Dead by Daylight. Like, I would feel so bad. Like, so when making game or picking group collaboration games, make sure like their people have at least some sort of interest. Actually, just not even games, just whatever you may be doing, activities included. Make sure like people have doing something that they will actually enjoy during that stream, instead of like, yeah, I'm here, you know.
And I would say the same goes for agreeing to do collabs, right? Like,
yes.
there's tons of times where like somebody might have a really great idea, but it's not something that you feel confident as a content creator that you would be able to make fun or interesting, or that you would be interested in. And so don't just agree because of who's proposing it either. Like, make sure that it's something that you actually want to do. Because what you don't want to do is get on someone's stream and drag the energy because you're not invested in the activity.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I've had cases of someone that the accepted play was Phasmophobia. For some reason, I don't know if it was something off stream or on stream, they just didn't have the energy, I guess. They were very monotone the entire time, kind of a pouting tone to them.
Mm-hmm. Like, not vibing with you.
Not
yeah?
vibing with me and the rest of the team. And we actually talked about it after the stream. And he after that he was never invited again because of that kind of behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, don't. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
We invited you, knowing that he liked the game. Meanwhile, he's just brought that energy to the group. It was kind of messed up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're able to regulate that.
Choose people who will actively engage in the kind of content that you're producing as the part of the collaboration. And it's not like, so it's not bad like if someone's zone out focusing, but like if that's the case, it's got to be like one of those games where it's like about the skill of the game that you're participating in, because like that's also a thing you can do. You could have games where it's just like you're showing off like, hey, you are as a group, you're skilled, you're professionals, at least to some extent. I don't know, like it could be like a mixture as well. Like, it doesn't have to be one way or the other, but like make sure though, like what you're doing, like that was the intended focus. Like if you're all going like, yeah, we're gonna play this game casually, and then suddenly like you got two people on the team that are like, they're super focused, they're not talking, and like they're getting the headshots, like that wasn't the intended part of the stream. We were supposed to just kind of goof around and like have fun, like, so make sure like whatever you're intending to do, it's not bad that you're focusing in and zoning in and on the game and zoning out on chat, like, but like again, gotta have that direction, gotta have that focus, because it can do.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think this goes back to Mafi's point earlier about reading the room when you're in a collab, because it's really, really important to really go with the flow, right? So if let's say that you're setting up a collab and you want to play golf with friends for the first half and you want to play escape simulator for the second half, and you start playing golf with friends and everybody is just having like the most wild fun time and they just want to keep going, right? Like somebody at the midway point goes, but what if we like went and tried out these custom courses or swapped these settings around? Like I'm having such a good time. And if everybody's kind of echoing that in the space, and like don't get too hung up on the schedule aspect of it, right? Be like, okay, well, but we said we were going to swap games, so we have to swap games. Go with the flow, not only with like how people are feeling about the games, in a positive sense, but also like being flexible and being willing to switch up games. Like maybe it's not fun, right? Like maybe one person in the collab's PC can't handle Dead by Daylight, and being able to kind of pivot and play something else so that it stays fun for everybody involved, and just being able to like read the room both as participant and host. And that goes a really long way of just keeping everything kosher and fun and authentic. Because if you come into a situation where everybody's like really chill, calm vibes, and you're just like balls to the wall screeching the whole time, that also is like not okay. Like that's not gonna be fun for anybody, because now you're like completely against the vibes. Unless it's for the bit. If it's an established bit, that's different.
Then it's probably coordinated with the people involved in the bit, right? So it won't seem really awkward.
Yeah. Communication.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like go with the flow.
Yeah. And kind of going along with that, like how you mentioned, like, you know, chill vibes and stuff like that. Like, the things that you're doing on stream don't necessarily have to be fun. It just has to be enjoyable. Like, you could have a chill stream where it's not like high energy. That's fine too. And like you could just like have like a casual conversation about like the topics and stuff like this. And just kind of like have a intended flow with it. And just again, this kind of goes back to the discussion part. Like, make sure you discuss with your collaborator that, hey, this is the intended flow. This is how we want to do things. I think a great like streamer that does something like this is like, for those that may know of Onigiri. Like, I watched like her VTuber cooking collaborations, and that's just like a straight vibe where it's just like you get to enjoy like different communities meshing and like with the VTuber, like she did one with Pirates Software. Oh, that was entertaining. Like, and like
Thor.
Yes,
oh my god.
Yes.
Damn.
And like, don't think like your collaborations again have to be a game. You can be just like a casual thing where you're just kind of sitting down chatting and having a vibe, you know?
I would say also like one thing that comes to mind is I do on occasion, I'll do like brunch streams with Charlie and Blair, my two wives on the internet. Woot woot. Two of my wives on the internet. And some of our like most successful fun streams have just been us goofing around with Vignon and just like blowing our heads up to giant sizes or throwing things at each other. And like, we know that that's things that we like to do, and our streams just like devolve that way. And again, it's just that like go with the flow. Like, okay, we've hit gremlin hour, now we're gonna be gremlins, right? Like
I think bouncing off each other's like energy at that moment in time is the best. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what game you're playing at that moment, what jokes and topics you're cracking at that moment in time, and just That's the bit. Like, and then sometimes you kind of realize I'm like, yeah, frick this game. Well, let's just do it just chatting while we're like just messing around. Good stuff. Good stuff.
That kind of reminds me, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but another thing is, it's like, you can be friends with a person and that'd be perfectly fine, but like your online personalities sometimes just don't mesh well to make a good collaboration. Like, for example, with me, like when I'm doing my top tier entertainment, I'm a bit of a troll. I crank it from like being a 5 up to an 11, like, and that's just like how my online personality is. Like, I try to be polite as possible as I can, of course, but like, again, a troll is still a troll. Like, I'm gonna mess with you. I'm gonna kind of mess around. I'm gonna like, hey, that fishing rod that we just made. Oh, it would really suck if I accidentally threw that off the raft. You know, like, it's that kind of energy. But like a lot of people that like. I could be just normal. I would never do that. Like, during a collaboration, like that online personality could easily be not kind of what your vibe and what your stream is. So, be aware of that and like understand that. Like, at the very least, test the waters, and then if it doesn't work out, like, don't hold a grudge. Don't be angry. It's just like, cause like that's just how the dice rolls sometimes, and sometimes. Well, it sucks, but hey, like it's better for the audiences to have a stream that's enjoyable. We're just like, yeah, this isn't really working out, you know?
Absolutely. I just thought back to a point that I want to pivot to, just in terms of like going with the flow as well. And that is being mindful of who is streaming and what chat sees. I think that one area where I've seen things get a little bit off kilter is when you have, 2 or 3 people playing the same game, but only one point of view, right? So depending on how your stream is set up, being mindful of who that point of view is and making sure that they get to engage with as much game content as possible, right? So like, Paz, I'm going to call you out for our pre-pod conversation of like, Paz missed a ton of Baldur's Gate story because my freaking partner left him in the dust. And that's rude because Paz's POV was the primary POV on the stream. And so being mindful of like letting, if it's a game where there's a lot of dialogue, let the person who's streaming get the dialogue or things like that, and being mindful. On the flip side, though, if you're playing like an MMO or something where people's progress in a game could be different depending on how long they've been playing, making sure that you and your collab partners are in similar enough spaces that you can actually play the game together. So like, you're not off running, end game content while they're playing at the beginning, and adapting your stream to make sure that like, hey, I want to play this game together. And so we're gonna focus on where you're at. I did my very first Final Fantasy 14 stream with Lord Sim, I guess our previous pod, and he is like super end game content, but even though that was the case, he did a really good job of still like scaling it back and running around with me in the early game areas to help me get started with the game. So like doing little things like that is really helpful both as a host and a.
And I just remembered, for some games that it's hard to share the same point of view. For example, We Were Here, since both players have different views of what's happening, there's also the nifty little tool called multi-twitch, where all you have to do is type the link multitwitch.tv/ and your name, your Twitch name / the other people's Twitch names, and what you get is all of the screens on the same screen. You can adjust the audio if you want to hear someone more or less, and you have everyone's chat. You can interact with everyone's streams. You can use all the points wherever you want.
That's a great audience tool, absolutely. And making that available to your audience would be really helpful for like, makes you think of like content warning or lethal company, where it is really beneficial to have point of views, or like Among Us too, but like you don't want to put them all on one stream because it kind of ruins the experience for the streamers if they can see the other POVs. Yeah. What's everybody's favorite like casual collab game to play?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Or activity to do?
Golf with friends just kind of never flops for me, I think. Just because, like...
So agreed.
Yeah, just because even if you don't have something to talk about, I feel like you can at least narrate your performance and those shared experiences together and struggles. I think also, like, when you finish before someone, you can see the other POVs, right? So you can kind of, like, you know, shit talk them, or you know, like praise them, whatever the vibe is. But yeah, I think that game in particular, I was thinking of, like, this is just like a theory, but a theory, like a theoretical thing of like, oh, like a just what is it called? It's come dine with me, but instead of come dine with me, it's come golf with me. So that's a collab idea for you guys if you're unfamiliar with like what collab games are best. I think the real deep end is Escape Room Simulator. You really gotta trust in your partner for that one.
Yeah, true. Speaking of which, I missed that game. I want to play it more. I love that game. Jen?
Mine would probably Minecraft.
Minecraft.
It's very relaxing at some point. And the more people, the easier it gets to finish the game. Or if you don't want to go the survival, just build stuff with someone. It's already a good thing. A good calming collab game to play.
Pez.
You know, both of my ideas were taken. So it's not a bad thing. Don't worry. What I was thinking is, you know what? I'm gonna go a little outside the box. It's not something that I personally have done a lot of, but like the one that I think I probably vibed the most with was during when we did the DMCA free movie night.
Movie night. Yes.
That was a
so
vibe.
fun.
Even
Man.
though I don't think I drank at all during that, but like it was still a lot of fun. I don't think I remember anything other than Bread of the Dead. I remember Bread of the Dead.
Dawn of the Bread.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, and the mustaches.
Oh, the mustaches were good. So for context, we found some DMCA free movies that no longer would trigger a copyright claim, and we watched them together. And on Paz's stream, it was a drinking game for Charlie and I. We put up mustaches on the screen, and anytime that the mustache lined up with a person's face, we would have to drink. And then we had other rules as well, of course, depending on the film. But that was really, really fun. I actually really loved that as well. And it was like unique. Like it was again like a really unique collab experience. I can never stream this game, the game that I'm gonna say, but I love watching people who are streaming it. And that's Power Wash Simulator. There's a 2-player mode, and I feel like if you have two people who like really connect well and talk, like can just like speak to each other and be interesting, like those are fun because they're almost just chatting streams, but there is still that gameplay element. I can't play it because it makes me motion sick too much. But I really like that. And then I also really like when I have done like Vroid or art streams and had somebody on call with me, like working on a project together. I think that can be really, really fun. I obviously do it for my commissions. I've had my commissionees in call with me before, or even just in chat. And I know that's not like technically a collab, but like I still love like that collaborative element of like I'm working on it and they're commenting and like giving opinions or ideas. And that's always really chill. I guess I just like when it's basically a just chatting stream, but with something happening on the screen.
I think
It's
you
like
could
my
also
favorite.
extend that to like it also would that kind of format where you have someone just kind of sitting in and commentating. Like I think that works well for just beyond like just like doing things. You could even do that with video games. Like a good
Yeah.
I think Mafi mentioned this earlier. Like a good example of something like this, like in the previous podcast, mind you. What was Game Grumps? Game Grumps.
Yeah.
Like just
What was
having
it? Yeah.
having that other person sit in there and have a commentating on the whole thing's going on, it's just like that's also very viable and quite entertaining.
Yeah. Poppy Playtime. Freaking Project Playtime.
Oh
That is
yes.
also an excellent one. It's not super jump scary, but it's just like entertaining enough that like if you're not a big horror fan, it's still a lot of fun. And there's a lot of different ways to go about it. I will say, know the play style of people you're playing with, because some people are huge trolls.
I don't know what you're talking about. Look, it's entertaining for the viewers.
So like being conscious of that, but I love Project Playtime. I haven't checked to see if its multiplayer is back. It was down for a while. I really should check because I enjoy that. I also enjoy having everybody their own Huggy Wuggy mom on screen, and that's really funny. It's my favorite gag on my stream, to be quite honest.
And it was so fun, in fact, that the Project Playtime people
Yeah,
on Twitch dropped like a freebie for Bag.
they did. I have like a
just chilled.
skin. that will go down in infamy as like one of my top like streamer moments is when Mob Entertainment came in my chat. They were like, "This is the best stream of our game I've ever seen. Here's 5 subs and reload your game and you'll have a free like skin and everything." And then they joined my Discord server and they are still in there. They're still in there.
That's
Lurking.
wild.
Yeah.
I'd say
So-
that's absolutely insane. I still remember that.
I will never forget. I'll also never forget when Mountain Dew actually noticed Paz. When they were doing Mountain Dew raid stuff, that was so good. Paz
I didn't know about
working the
this.
system.
You can't. My tracking literally broke because I was face palming. I just want you to know. Yeah, that's how we got the infamous scene with me in the Mountain Dew bottle. And yeah, that's a thing that's permanently out there. I hate it.
Beautiful. It's fantastic. They didn't notice me. They noticed you. I need KFC to notice you next.
Oh God, no.
I need it. They did not notice the video. I'm gonna like retweet it right now.
This is the
did the
4th
Spanish
time
one?
we've come to
This is
contact
the
you about
4th
your
time.
Paz extended warranty.
I actually never got to play the Poppy. The Poppy.
Oh,
The next
we
time-
gotta have you on sometime.
Yeah, I was about to say the next time the multiplayer allows like not necessarily direct connect, but like connect with friends. We gotta I should check that after this podcast, but like we should definitely set something up. It
We
is.
should totally use all the tips that we used during this podcast. to
Yeah,
coordinate
we use the tips to
collaboration.
set up your own Poppy's Playtime collaboration event. Shout out Mob Entertainment. You know, actually, hey Baguette, you know what would be really interesting? You should see if you could set up a collaboration with Mob Entertainment to talk about their game.
That would be kind of cool.
It would be. I have zero perspective on collaborations with corporations or businesses, but I think maybe we could have a miniature part 2 if we can have personal insight on that.
What if we just get them into our podcast, man?
Yeah.
We could all be Baggy Waggy and Pazuah and Mafi Softy, and they could be our guests. Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Forgot I even had one.
It's purple and has cheese on its head. I'll use that as an opportunity to say that collabs are also a space for creativity. Don't be afraid to get creative and find ways to make your collab more engaging. It will net you the ability to entertain your chat and make good content, but also will make the people that you're collabing with maybe want to come back and do more with you, because it's like, wow, they really went out of their way to make this a really fun experience. So shout out to Paz for making everybody their own Huggy Wuggy models for our Project Playtime collabs. Jen, we need to think of a silly name for yours. Vinny Winnie.
I think of like an old time mobster with a trench coat and a Tommy gun.
That's just like, I'm walking here.
Oh my god.
I'm walking you.
They used to sell those as toys, right? The Tommy guns.
I don't know.
I haven't seen any toy Tommy guns. Or heck, I haven't
Time to
even seen,
Google.
because like I used to at one point in my life play airsoft. I don't think I even seen airsoft versions.
Oh my god.
Wait, are Tommy guns real guns? They're not
Yeah,
just
no, they're real.
baby
They're
guns.
ones.
They're
Those
not-
are
Oh,
real
okay.
ones.
I need to Google toy Tommy gun. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The real gun probably exists.
Yeah, they have them. They have them on Amazon.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
Yeah. They have them on Amazon.
There's in Canadian laws.
Okay, so I think we've covered everything. That was
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah,
Speedy of us.
I don't have any other topics or anything else that I need to bring up. Does anybody have any miscellaneous things they want to go over? Or anything we may have missed?
I think I just found that a lot of the stuff, like we have a little cheat sheet that we've got going on. I think with collaborations, a lot of things kind of just go hand in hand. We found that like although we've addressed a topic, we didn't formally transition into it, and I think that goes to show that like all these things that we've discussed today, you're not going to be doing one at a time. Like a lot of them will just kind of be intertwined and part of a long, lengthy process, both before, or I say both, before, during, and after the stream. Because
Yeah.
you still need aftercare for your
And
special guests.
absolutely, aftercare is very important. And like the other thing too is because it's not like do one step then the other then the other then the other. Just knowing that there's upstream and downstream impacts of different things, right? So like the technology that you're going to use is going to affect the way that you set up. It's going to affect your viewer experience. It might affect the different things that you do. So like just making sure that you are very clear on your format before that start stream button is going to be number one. You have someone you like doing something you're going to enjoy, and you have a format, you know what you're going to do. And then it's just got to keep going. Just got to keep streaming. Mm-hmm. I did think of one topic that we haven't covered that could be a little bit. I want to talk about it because I think it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, which is, let's say that you do all these steps, right? And then you get into a collab and it starts to go terribly wrong, whether that's because of technology or vibes, or maybe even that person actually does say something super out of pocket. How would you, as experienced content creators, advise someone who's newer in that space with dealing with those kind of situations?
Each one of those would take a different type approach, but I want to give Mafi and Vgen like their own opportunities to share before because I feel like if I begin talking on this, like I could go quite a while.
Yeah, same.
Jen, did you?
Jen's our guest, so Jen, do you want to like take point on the question?
My best tip would be to after during this, it's better after the stream, to communicate what made you, especially on the guest's behavior, to communicate what made you a little bit upset, not in like a threatening way or anything, just voice your concerns on certain things, because I've actually have one of my streams I invited two of my IRL friends. One of them is streamer now, but they weren't streamers before. and one of them said a very, let's say, bannable word during the stream. And because of that, I had to completely remove the vote because I did not want to deal with that. Let's just say after that, I never streamed with him in chat again. I'm still friends with him. I still know that he just got carried away. I know he knows that's not a thing that it should be said. But yeah, I had to talk with him about the situation. And after that, I made a decision that I probably would feel more comfortable if he wasn't during the streams. I still hang out with him. That's completely fine. But not on stream.
Yeah. Mafi?
I think I've had, I like to think not a lot, but like a couple of instances where some no-no words are said. And I think with those, I know Jen suggested dealing with it after stream. I would go with that if it was pretty like severe, or like especially like if it's someone you're familiar with or like very familiar with, and it almost like just that incident alone actually makes you kind of question like, you know, your relationship with that person as well, like making sure that like, yeah, like it might be a case of love you, don't love your stream persona. But I think with like dealing with on-stream stuff, if they have Discord open or you think that they have Discord open, let them know what they did. As someone who manages people kind of like in a variety of settings, a big thing is just kind of taking them to the side, making sure that they don't feel embarrassed by what they did, and kind of just have a private conversation with them on the side, and then maybe just go on it, like depending on the severity of the said thing. I think if you can actually even comedically or educationally kind of take the time to address it on stream, you could do that as well, which I've done, where some people don't even know that it's a no word. So like that's just as important, right? Because some things might actually be no words in another language that you, or in the language that you speak, but not in like another language, and all those kinds of things, and maybe even just kind of like regionally and stuff. And it's kind of like you could definitely kind of swing it in a way of, chat, let's learn about said thing so we don't make this mistake again. And like if you do have someone that's friendly and understanding and, you know, willing to change right on the spot kind of thing, and it's like, oh sorry, my bad kind of stuff, it's actually quite nice. So yeah.
I think specifically when it comes to like behavior or things like that, intention matters a lot in how I choose to address things like that. If it's something where I can tell that they absolutely did not mean to take the joke too far, or did not understand exactly like what they've said, like I am a lot more likely to be like, whoa, okay, we're not gonna do that again, thank you, and then maybe address it like after stream more in depth of like, hey, this happened, just want to check in, like you're good, we're good, but this is the reason why I kind of wanted to divert away from it. But if somebody ever were to like be openly hateful, or if they were to respond negatively to me saying like, whoa, and they would get defensive about that, then that might cause for more drastic action in the middle of stream. Fortunately, I've not had that really happen. But I will say like, I have thought about like what I would do if, you know, I was playing a Jackbox game and somebody put something really, really insensitive or really, really truly awful, like how I would address it. And depends on how well I know them, of course. But I mean, that's another great reason to split your audio, because if you absolutely need to stop stream, go on a BRB and have a conversation, you can do whatever you need to do. So yeah, and that can be for any variety of reason too. Like I also, as someone who has alcohol on my stream, have had situations where I have felt the need to end a stream prematurely just for someone's safety, right? Because they're drinking too much, or they are no longer in full control of maybe what they're saying, or their words are coming out garbled and it's not sounding great and they don't mean anything by it, but I don't want them to get hurt or them to hurt someone else. So like just being in control and remembering that it's your stream. You can end it when you want, you can pause it when you want, you can ask people to leave, you can ban people in chat. You have full control over that space, so don't be afraid to use it. If you absolutely have to, don't be scared to do that.
One thing I would recommend is like the moment something like that happens, because we as far as I'm aware, unless you're all different than me, the moment something like that happens, like you have like your heart skips a beat, you start panicking. I want to say take a moment, take a breath, and just take a second to think about what your actions are what you want to do, because like you could do a million different things, but like you need to take actions that are representative of what you want to do, rather than kind of like, oh, I need to act, and you don't think about what you want to do. Sometimes your actions could be over drastic, it could be not drastic enough. Like that's why I say like just take a second, breathe in. Definitely do what Baguette suggested, like mute the audio if you need to, and then just do a quick second, think about what you need to do, because like the situations, like that's kind of what I was elaborating too, is like there's so much nuance to it. Like if this person, you never met them before, you just kind of, this is your first collab, and then they drop a slur, like you're in full panic mode at that time, like because you've never dealt with this person before. There's a million thoughts going around in your head. This
is the first time I meet you and you drop a slur. Yeah. You're getting side eye and stream's ending.
Yeah, like in that case, I'd recommend like, hey, look, it's probably best just to well, I wouldn't end the stream immediately. I would probably mute them. Actually, no, I'd probably kick them out of the call and address that with chat first and foremost. But like, hey, look, This is what happened. This is a no-no. They're never coming back again. And then kind of just like move on from there. Honestly, I'd probably even recommend ending stream. Yeah, technically you could probably, all right, move on to another stream. But I think at that point in time, the vibe is already damaged, and your chat's probably gonna need time to recover from whiplash, from something like that. Issues with tech and general vibes though, those could be dealt with on stream, and they're a lot less tech, a little bit different, but a lot less stressful than like the prior situation. Like if you're having issues with tech, maybe if it's like an issue with the game, you guys could swap to a different game. If it's issues with audio, you could do swapping to just like, hey, we're doing BRB, we got some tech issues, here's some music in the meantime while we work on this. If it's issues with vibes, well then just like it's time to course correct, and hey, let's do something we all vibe with, Again, could go on for this with hours, because there's so many different scenarios, with each one having different kind of approaches that you may want to approach it with. But just like I said, take a second, breathe in. Don't get over flustered with what's going on, because like that could happen especially with technology, where it's like, I tested this 2 weeks in advance and 30 minutes before stream, and now it's not working. I don't know why. Like, take a second, just breathe in, relax, and assess,
I totally agree. When it comes to technology, just trying to breathe and not panic is super important. And being able to pivot would also be a good option as well. When it comes to vibes, I mean, sometimes just checking in with them and being like, hey, do we need to take a break? How's everybody feeling? Are we feeling tired? Feeling good to go? Like that can be a really great way to subtly communicate, like maybe somebody's not feeling well. It gives them an out as well. So if they want that out, they can take it. But if they want to continue, it's also an opportunity for you to then say, I'm actually going to need a break. Like, well, you go take a break and reassess. Or, hey, I'm actually feeling kind of tired, so I think we're actually going to call it after this match, or we're going to call it after. And then you can, check in with them off stream, like Jen said, and be like, hey, it felt like the vibes were kind of rancid. Is everything okay? Like, and if they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, maybe then that's just not a collab partner that's good, right? Like maybe that's just not a good combo that we've found. But if they're like, yeah, no, actually I wasn't feeling it, then it's like, okay, we can try again another time, right? It helps you kind of guide your next movements in terms of that relationship.
Communication is key.
Mm-hmm. Any other points we need to... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mafi.
No, honestly, like, I think building on top of the communications point again, I think if you can, like, set aside some time, not a lot, but just sit down and talk to the person that you just collabed with too. I think once the collab is over, I almost think, even if it is just going, I'm gonna go get dinner now, bye-bye, thank you so much, that goes a long way. Like, I think if it's not that, then honestly just talking about how you guys felt. I recently had a collab like yesterday actually, where someone, I think the vibes were a little down on their end just because they weren't able to actually get their POV going. And I think we could tell, and we were like making sure that like that they were, you know, like you have to take it upon yourself to make sure that you're, like checking base with everyone that you're collabing with, right? To ensure that they're still good to go. Like some people might not be at 100%, but if they're still like, well, you guys are my friends, and I still enjoy this game. It like this thing will still suck, and that might seep through, but knowing where they stand is really important, especially after the fact. Just so potentially you could work out these kind of protocols and stuff like for future editions of this kind of thing.
As far as any other talking points, because like, unless we can find a topic where I may have not thought of a previous subject, like I myself don't have anything.
Yeah, I think we've done a really good job of covering a lot of the basics of collab etiquette, some tips and tricks, technology. I think that we've been pretty thorough in it, and so I can't really think of anything else other than, I guess, to say thank you all for consistently being excellent collab partners. I've collabed with the three of you on multiple occasions, and if you guys are ever able to catch any collabs that anybody in this call is doing, check us out on our Twitch channels as well, because when we're collabing with people, if you want to see us in action and see, like, you know, what the fruits of all this advice can look like, so like, don't be afraid to watch collabs too to figure out what you like and don't like. So that's my last little tidbit that I'll throw out there too for you. As usual, just keep watching content. You'll figure out what you like, and you can implement it. Like, well, awesome. If there are no other topics, I think I heard your grandma calling all of us for dinner, Paz. It smells like a mixture of tacos and lasagna, and I can't describe it, but it's tantalizing, and I gotta have a bite.
You know what's you know what's hilarious? I hate that you say that, because literally, because Kalani's got an early work tomorrow, so I already cooked dinner, and it's lasagna. I literally have lasagna out on the table.
But yeah, I need a bite immediately, and also I need to burn my mouth with this taco lasagna, whatever this is that she has. So thank you to your grandmother for hosting us so graciously to talk about collaborations. One last time before we sign off, I am Baguette Baby, streamer. I stream on Twitch. I have a Twitter. I have a TikTok. You can find me at Baguette_Baby everywhere except for Twitter, where there are 2 underscores. If you're interested in my content, that is where you find me. I'll kick it over to the lovely Mafi. Go ahead and tell everybody where you can be found.
You can basically find me as Mafidella on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, although I don't really like TikTok all too much. Anyway, that's where you can find me. Join me for some silly but cozy vibes. Below me is a interesting mustachioed friend.
As for me, you can find me on Twitch, on the YouTubes, I guess on the Twitters, although I don't use it that often, and also on the TikToks, although TikToks, like I just kind of like I have a short from YouTube. I might as well throw it over here. That's where you can find me. There might be other places. I don't know. I don't remember. You think I would, being a content creator. However, more importantly, where you can find me is where you can find Vgenerator.
Yay! You can find me on Twitch, /Vgenerator. You can also find me on Twitter and on TikTok under the same name. You can try YouTube, but that channel has been buried since 2018.
Ooh, lore content. Okay.
I wasn't a robot.
Legacy. Legacy content. Very good. I'm gonna be hitting that up.
It's awful. Don't watch it.
Content is content. Content is content. But Jen, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really love all the different perspectives that all of our guests have been able to offer so far on these different can't think of the word. Concepts. Concepts. These different contents. Yep, that's the word, Baguette. As you can see, I'm absolutely going rabid with brain fog from hunger from smelling this lasagna. So I'm going to wrap this up and say thank you so much for joining us. This has been Level Up Live. We will see you to level up next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.